everybody for joining us today for our webinar with Dollar Bank, Drive Actionable Profitability Insights. Today's webinar will begin in just a moment, but in the meantime, I have a couple of quick items to go over. All participants will be muted, but you'll notice on the right-hand navigation, there's a question box. If you have any questions or technical difficulties, please reach out to us, and any questions for the presenters will be addressed at the end of the presentation, but you can go ahead and enter those in at any time. A reminder that we are recording today's session, and we will be sending out the link to the recording as soon as it's available. And with that, I will turn it over to you, Dan.
Thank you, Erica, and welcome everyone. We'll start with some quick introductions here. I am Dan Dosman. I'm the Managing Director for the Enterprise Performance Management Consulting Practice, or EPM, for Emtec. I have about 20 years of experience delivering EPM solutions and implementations that enable organizations to plan, execute, understand, and report on their financial performance. With me today is Dominic Lazaro of Dollar Bank. Hello, Dom. Please tell us a bit about your background in profitability reporting.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for having me and participating in this webinar today. I'm Dominic Lazaro. I'm Vice President of Management Accounting here at Dollar Bank. I've been with the bank 11 years, but I've been in the banking industry for 20 years. My areas of responsibility include management reporting, budget forecasting, financial analysis, and mergers and acquisitions.
Thank you, Dom. Really appreciate you joining us today. Let me talk briefly about Emtec. We've been in this business for over 25 years. I'm with Emtec Consulting, and we have 3 other divisions that specialize in digital transformation, IT infrastructure, and Salesforce consulting. We partner with various application and technology firms, with Oracle being the primary partner of the ECS division. Our marketing strategy focuses on several industry verticals, and this particular discussion is around the financial services industry. And a key tenet of our business model is our customer relationships, where we strive to embody our client for life philosophy. So with that being said, let's talk about the agenda for today. In our webinar, we're going to share how Dom and his team at Dollar Bank put in place a world-class profitability reporting capability. And we'll talk about why this is a compelling story, the situation and challenges when this initiative started, the goals of the project and the solution that was developed, and the approach we took and the results that were achieved. So we'll reserve some time at the end for Q&A, as Erica said. So feel free to submit any questions into the webinar question pane. So as we talk about Dollar Bank's experience, I want to encourage you to consider how this solution evolved from existing capabilities already in place. The platform that this performance reporting is built upon is the same application that Dollar Bank uses for their annual budgeting and monthly financial forecasting. So you might consider whether, like Dollar Bank, you might be able to leverage the familiar technology and consistent presentation of your existing financial planning application to serve as the basis for sophisticated performance reporting. Dom, can you provide us with some background concerning the importance of profitability reporting for Dollar Bank?
Yes, Dan. For Dollar Bank, it's very important measurement that we're looking to deploy throughout the bank. Historically, we've never had line of business profitability. What line of business profitability does for us is now we can, goal individual lines of businesses on, and measure them on a profitability perspective instead of a kind of a volume-based approach to things. We can look at performance indicators, ROA, efficiency ratios, quality, asset ratios, and those kind of indicators to really engage and assess how our divisions of the bank are driving the income results of the bank. So that's predominantly what we use it for, engaging that platform to be able to do for us. So I think with that, it will also create the desired behaviors we want to create in terms of, people more focused on, as they're making decisions, or when we're making decisions on a higher level as to how we're going to deploy our capital. We have this as a tool to be able to utilize, and now we can do it on a more frequent basis. For example, we can look at it on a monthly basis, where this used to be a manual process that we used to do on just on an annual basis alone, but we never really, deployed it out to all the various lines of businesses within the bank. And now we have that ability to be able to do that, because instead of it being a manual process and doing that just once a year, we can now do it with an automated process and leverage this technology to be able to deliver it with more frequency and more transparency.
Excellent, thank you. So let's provide a little bit of additional background here. Dollar Bank's an independent community bank. They were founded in 1855. They've grown to become a large, full-service regional bank with over 75 offices in Ohio, and Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Dollar Bank uses profitability by business unit and by product to manage financial performance with the solution. Now, historically, this has been a significant manual effort to analyze revenue results and expenses, and then to align them to the underlying business areas and customer offerings. The activity required to quantify the drivers of the financials has been significant enough to limit this to just being an annual activity, and conducted by a handful of internal experts over a period of months. And of course, all of this effort was required in addition to the job of managing Dollar Bank finance on a day-to-day basis. So like most organizations, Dollar Bank's financial reports provided a view of total profitability across the organization as a whole. However, like most organizations, financial accounting transactions are optimized for accounting requirements. So general ledger data alone falls short of meeting the needs for managing the business. For example, centralized bookings of revenue for some products made it difficult to quantify revenue by business units, such as commercial division or retail branch. Similarly, centralized management of cost centers accurately tracks expenses in total, but didn't capture the drivers that were needed to align those expenses to the profit centers and the products that they supported. So as a financial services organization, the challenges of allocating revenue and expenses is further complicated by the need to align the balance sheet with its interest income and interest expenses, as well, with consideration for funds transfer pricing between products. Dom, can you talk a bit about what makes robust profitability reporting challenging for finance?
Sure. Well, when I first got here, 11 years ago, we didn't really have a platform like this. So there were a lot of challenges. I mean, we started out with, bringing in the Oracle S-Base platform into the bank. We had used General Ledger to not only produce reports, but to also do our budgeting and forecasting, and to some extent, profitability. And it was a very manual process before. But when we brought S-Base in, and we brought it in on-prem, we were able to then take it to the next level in terms of not just using General Ledger for the purpose of debits and credits, but now we can create a more robust financial management reporting platform that we did not have. And then when we integrated the budgeting and forecasting modules, and that was a challenge too, because when we would do budgeting and forecasting, it was a very manual process, Excel spreadsheet driven, and so forth. And linking files to other files and then sending a data file or data extract to our general ledger team to upload a budget or a forecast into general ledger, that kind of thing. So now what we're able to do, with the environment that we have, we're able to, and we designed, various templates that we can send out to the divisions to gather a budget or even a forecast. And then when that comes back, we're able to easily just upload that into Essbase. And the transparency of that is seamless. So those were kind of the challenges initially. And then our other challenge came along when we wanted to do line of business profitability. And the challenge there was kind of similar. A lot of Excel spreadsheets. We can only do it once a year. A lot of manual effort to do it once a year. And we presented it to the board once a year. But it was never really used as a management tool. So when we engaged in this project to bring in line of business profitability, we were looking at ways to automate and be more efficient so that we can do it with more frequency and more transparency, and also use it as a tool to create the desired behaviors that we need to reach our organizational goals. So those were basically the biggest challenges, and I will say it took some time to implement all that change, because when you go from an environment where you're doing a lot of things manually and they're old processes, it does take time to evolve, especially when you're have to deal with a lot of in some cases some antiquated systems in order to help facilitate that. So hope that answers your question there, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I guess in summarizing the goal of this initiative, when we engaged with Dollar Bank, Dom and his team recognized that they already had most of the building blocks required to automate and enhance their profitability reporting. So the annual reporting exercise was effective in providing a snapshot of insight into performance, but they needed more of it and on a more frequent basis. Dom, you mentioned that with the annual basis, limited ability to use that as a management tool. Can you tell us more about your vision here and how you would use profitability reporting to manage the business?
Well, first of all, it will be something that our division heads will now be able to see. And hopefully that will help drive, the behaviors that are desired to meet our organizational goals, and more specifically, goals within those divisions from a profitability perspective. And we would be able to tie that into, a overall performance scorecard, which then ties into, an incentive program layered over that. So that's how we, and from a finance perspective as well, is, our working with our business partners in the division, we'll be able to, provide information that they have not ever seen before, that, can be more, we can assist now more in helping those divisions achieve and attain their goals.
Excellent, thank you. So
Yep.
let's talk about the solution a bit. The core technology component here is the Oracle EPM Cloud Planning. Dollar Bank and Emtec collaborated to create a new application for performance reporting within the existing Oracle Planning and Budgeting Cloud service that was in place at the bank. The performance reporting application uses the power of Oracle's Essbase multidimensional database, coupled with Oracle's SmartView add-in to Microsoft Excel for reporting and analysis. Now, I've found that the essence of powerful reporting lies in the effective integration of multiple data sources with transparency into the underlying detailed data. And in this case, the key supporting component to the solution is the Oracle data warehouse that had been developed by Dollar Bank. So in addition to accounting, to the accounting results from the general ledger and treasury projections, the data warehouse hosts instrument level details of customer accounts and transactions, and is able to automate the integration of these various operational source systems for loans, deposits, and other customer activity. So queries built within the data warehouse provide the summaries of revenue and expenses and balances, as well as statistical drivers that are used for the monthly alignment of results to business units and products and regions. So the mechanics of the solution involve bringing summary data from the data warehouse into the performance reporting application. So this includes actuals from the general ledger, budgets and forecasts from planning, asset and liability projections from treasury. And the data warehouse is also the source of funds transfer pricing to appropriately align the income from interest with products that fund the interest generating products like mortgages and other loans. So the data warehouse also is used to provide the detail for aligning revenue and depreciation to business units and products. So within the application, finance has the ability to identify the basis for allocations of expenses using several methods, such as loans and deposits outstanding for product costs, transaction counts for back office operations, and headcount or percentage of salary for labor related expenses. Data warehouse also provides expense totals by allocation type and the allocation drivers by profit center. And then a set of business rules within the application produce the allocation calculations that enable the reporting of income statement and balance sheet views of performance, as you see here, across lines of business and by region. Now, in approaching this, we leveraged Emtec's engagement framework and used that to manage a series of discovery workshops to understand requirements and approach. We did a lot of design modeling and prototyping to really work through the details of what would be presented and how it would integrate across all the different areas and reconcile to the totals from the accounting systems. Emtec and Dollar Bank then jointly developed dimensional hierarchies to structure the lines of business, to structure the reporting line items, and to develop the forms and reports that would be required. Dollar Bank then developed the data warehouse queries and the extracts, no small feat. And Emtec developed the performance reporting application and the related integrations and business rules that drive that. The Dollar Bank then conducted user acceptance testing, and Emtec and Dollar Bank have jointly deployed the solution. It's involved a pretty extensive documentation and knowledge transfer, and no small feat to bring in all the historical data needed to provide month over month and year over year reporting. So the results, Dom, can you talk a little bit about the profitability reporting process and kind of contrast the before and after from a results perspective?
Yeah, I would say from a before perspective, we, as I said earlier, it was a very labor intensive manual process using, Excel spreadsheets to be able to do that. Manually formulating the expense, allocations that you pointed out in the previous slide, and having to maintain those in some type of an Excel workbook, and not being able to, in some cases, align things appropriately under the divisions. But so now the after is now, we've got an automated process with transparency into allocations and the sources and the methods underneath those allocations. And then the ability to have, more frequency so that we can have the ongoing conversations with the line of business divisions and the heads of those divisions. That's pretty much it at a high level before and after.
Excellent, thank you. So in summarizing, the solution is bringing together general ledger actuals, treasury, ALCO projections, the EPM, budgets and forecasts, revenue reclassification based on data warehouse detail, expense allocation drivers based on data warehouse detail, and asset and liability balances that are aligned to products and business units. This is providing business unit managers going forward with profitability reports by organization unit, branch and loan center, by product, including interest and non-interest income and expenses. It's adding a regional view of profitability, and key piece, automating the reporting process with flexibility to adapt to inevitable changes that are to come in the business. So Dom, if you could, how would you summarize the benefits that you anticipate realizing from automating this monthly profitability reporting?
Well, I think it's the flexibility that we're going to have and the transparency that we need to be able to engage our business partners regarding line of business profitability. In addition to that, it makes it easier for us to, as you point out here in one of the results here, to adapt to changes in our businesses. Certainly, lines of businesses evolve, so that's going to require maintenance. It's not just you do it one time, where when we have a manual process like we had, it took a lot of work to integrate any business line changes or departmental organizational changes, where now, we can do that, pretty seamless and, but still deliver the profitability on the same frequency with the same transparency. And as we continue to grow and we, bring in other, through mergers and acquisitions, we're able to bring in other banks, we'll be able to leverage this, for that as well. For example, we recently made an acquisition recently. We'll be able to integrate them into our line of business profitability, which also includes, by the way, branch profitability. So we'd be able to now look at, not just the line of business, but we would be able to look at individual branches and look at the profitability of the branch locations as well.
Excellent. Thank you. I think that paints quite an effective picture of some pretty positive results and some pretty powerful capabilities. So with that, why don't we shift the conversation and take some questions? Erica, do you have any questions for us?
Yes, it actually looks like a couple have come through. And just a reminder to everybody that is on that, if you have any additional questions, just to enter them into the question pane. The first one, why this is directed towards Dominic. It says, why did you choose Oracle for your software platform and Emtec as your implementation partner?
Yeah, so we did do a lot of, research. I will tell you, as far as Oracle S-Base goes, that's been a platform that, I've had experience utilizing in my prior experiences before joining Dollar Bank. Some of the team members that I have brought in from outside the organization were also familiarized with that tool. It's one of those. The cloud-based solution is also, very important to us from a maintenance perspective. Also, we looked at, other providers as far as a financial reporting platform, and we felt that the Oracle S-based PBCS cloud-based solution was the best fit for what we were trying to do, here at Dollar Bank. As it relates to partnering with Emtec, Emtec's had a lot of experience, working with Oracle products. We felt that, when we looked at other providers, we felt that Emtec had a good understanding of how our environment was working and where we wanted to go, and we felt comfortable that they could help us get the desired solution that we were looking for, and it's been a great relationship, and looking forward to continuing that.
Great, thank you. This next question looks like it's directed towards Dan. Can you please describe the cloud planning technical functionality used in the solution a bit more?
Sure. Well, as we said, the core is the Oracle EPM cloud application. That's a software as a service solution. And within the cloud planning application, there are multiple S-based cubes, the databases, multi-dimensional databases, as Dom mentioned, S-base. So we created a separate cube that would have dimensionality that was specific to profitability and the allocation process. It's a little bit different than the dimensionality that's in planning. The dimensionality is a key piece because we do share commonalities with the planning application to provide some integration and reconciliation across management reporting platforms. So the same lines of business are summarized into the profitability reporting as are used as cost centers within budgeting and forecasting. And similarly, the accounting structure is related so that we can account for all of the detail that's in the actuals that are reported from the planning solution in summary form in the profitability solution. And for integration, the data management component of planning is used. So it allows us to create predefined integration formats and structures and load rules to bring data into the application from the extracts that are produced from the data warehouse. There's a component within planning called Calculation Manager, which is used to build the business rules that do the actual calculations of the allocations and the summarization of the reporting. The presentation of the reporting, as I mentioned earlier, is through SmartView. SmartView is an Excel add-in that you install on your desktop, and our experience is once someone in finance gets their hands on SmartView, they'll never let go. It's just a terrific tool for providing ad hoc analysis as well as formal reporting. And I'd point out that all of these components come with the Oracle EPM Cloud service. They're not additional pieces. They're all capabilities that are built into that core application. Okay.
Great, thanks, Dan. So it looks like we have one more question, unless another one comes through. And this one, it looks like is for Dominic. It says, what additional plans do you have for profitability reporting at Dollar Bank?
Yeah, so I think, as far as profitability goes, here at Dollar Bank, in addition to what we've developed here, the other piece that we've been able to integrate is a performance scorecard to look at the results for all our divisions in terms of a performance scorecard. We have that implemented from a branch banking perspective, but we want to deploy that to our commercial and residential mortgage divisions of the bank. So that'll be another layer of integration into our profitability view of things. We will look to also leverage our ALCO model and helping us with being able to integrate that financial modeling into our profitability as well.
Great, thank you. It looks like nothing else has come through. So a big thank you to Dominic from Dollar Bank for taking the time to be a part of this webinar today. And I'd like to thank everyone again for joining us, and please reach out if you have any further questions. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.